Oh my god. Okay, also, shout outs in the dub. You're just another thunder fart in a shitstorm that I don't need.
That's good.
Literally paused the episode and I was like, did he just? And then I talked to Get and I was like, you're just another thunder fart in a shitstorm that I don't need. Stephen A. Starface, everybody. きっと約束だよいつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hello, one and all, and welcome to the box, the Any Chat Box. This is episode 81, and I'm your host, Gregory von Maximus III, Esquire. And I am not alone this week. The other two people, the gentleman of the box and the producer extraordinaire, have abandoned us, but thankfully, the precious cinnamon roll of the podcast is still with me, Cammy.
Hi everybody. Thank you for joining us. And yes, I would never leave you, Craig, because like all of our hosts, I love you.
Oh, that's really cute. That's really fucking cute.
Did you get your sugar intake for the day? You good?
Yeah, I actually had waffles for brunch today. It was actually, speaking of sugar, that was also really, really good.
Were they Eggo waffles?
No, they're actually homemade waffles. We got one of those waffle makers, like a Belgian waffle maker, and Cass is like, I'm gonna make waffles and bacon for lunch. And I'm like, yo, can I get in on a waffle? And she's like, yeah, you know what, baby, I got you. And I'm like, yeah.
I'm gonna hold her to that when John and I are there for KomoriCon, that we need a podcast host brunch. It's written in the books now. Too late to say no.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm sure she would happily oblige to that.
Yes.
And speaking of obligations, let me tell you about our social links.
Got him.
Twitter.com/AnyChatBox for all your short inquiries. 280 characters or less. If you want to hit us up in long form, suggest a topic, you want to suggest an anime to lifeboat, what have you, hit us up on email. Email is anychatmail@gmail.com. Again, that is anychatmail@gmail.com. We can be found in multiple podcast services around the internet sphere, such as iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and SoundCloud. Leave us a rating, 5 stars, or recommended. We can read your rating or review on the air if you so choose. And finally, if you wish to donate some hot cash muns, hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/anychatbox. Check out those hot tiers, they've been updated. And if you wish to watch us suffer through troll ass animes, you can donate the $15.
I like to think that we keep that one in the dark so we won't have to go through what we did with Yamibo, but it might attract people, so who knows. On that note, shout out to our dear Sarah CorpsyAnn Carroll, who is a $5 patron and thankfully does not pay for us to watch terrible anime. Not that I think she could recommend them, because she has great tastes. She and I bond a lot over like magical girl anime and like shoujo romancy stuff, so thankfully we're pretty safe with her. But go check her out on YouTube as CorpsyAnn. She does vlogs on a YouTube channel.
Nice. All right, well, then, since we're going to be talking about a show that is supernatural and crazy with superpowers, I suggested a topic, and I said before we sat down here, basically it could go as long as we really want it to, or it could be really short depending, kind of freeform since it's just me and Cammy today. Superpowers. What would yours be, and how would you use them? Now, it should be noted, I actually just thought of this, like, a couple minutes before we sat down. We did do a sort of superpowers thing where when we reviewed My Hero Academia.
Oh, that was Quirks, yeah.
Yeah, and we shopped them, but how this will be different in my mind is, yo, what would your ideal superpower be? like, what would you do with it? Or would it inconvenience you? Or would it be a burden?
Yeah, I think quirks themselves are a little more narrowly focused, where it's just an attribute that you have, and usually there has to be like a disadvantage to them where there is an advantage as well. And superpowers, especially if you're thinking more in the realm of like American comics, like can for the most part just be an advantage or can be an entire package and not one attribute. So there's definitely a way to diversify the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, like if you think of like the X-Men or like any of the Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes, they all have superpowers. In DC, they're called metahumans. I've always said that I've always wanted to be a speedster. I want to either have the ability... I want to run really fast. Like, so I don't ever have to take public transportation.
Ooh,
and
that's good.
like, I'm able to just run from point A to point B really fast. Such examples, you know, obviously, if you read comics, The Flash, obviously being the key one, Kid Flash. The only drawback on his power is he always has to eat because his metabolism is constantly working. But you know what? Hey, I would love to eat like a crap ton of tacos in order to keep running.
Oh, man. Wait, also, I forget his name. Isn't there one in DC? I want to say it's DC. He was in one of the X-Men movies recently. There's the whole scene where like there's something going on at the academy, and then he's like, "Oh, let me just fix everything," and he pauses time, and they play "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This." Who's that guy?
You are thinking of the Marvel character Quicksilver.
Oh,
who
right.
Actually, yes. And I believe the movie you're thinking of is X-Men Apocalypse, where he just puts on the music. He's wearing a bomber jacket, I believe, and he's just got the shades, and he slows down time as he's running around the walls, and then like shoving things aside, and then everything's in slow-mo, the way that this scene is shot, and then when it's from everyone else's perspective, everything just goes in really fast motion, and everything like is solved essentially.
Yes, that whole scene was so good.
I
well produced. I could see you being that person also as well, though. Just like generally like moving things aside, fixing someone's like poster on the wall, or like you know, just I could see that. Also,
it'd make chores so much easier. I would love it.
I hadn't even considered, honestly, your whole element about not taking public transit, because also being someone who relies on public transit, it would be way cooler if I could just run places.
Yeah, it'd be so awesome.
That'd be a huge convenience. Shoot. That's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
Let me think. So, for me, it's really interesting whenever I think about superpowers. First of all, like the very generic ones go through my head. So like invisibility, the power to fly, super strength, like mind reading and powers like that. And I thought through a lot of them, and none of them seemed very useful to me. The one that I was always a little bit interested in was like mind reading and stuff, or invisibility. But then I realized, as a person who has social anxiety, the last thing that I need to do is have ways to enable me to like listen to what people are thinking and like what they think about me, and like none of that. Like I don't need that. My anxiety doesn't need that. So that's off the table. Like that's a...
And imagine if like you just discovered this power and it would be dialed up to 11.
Oh gosh,
right? Where you're hearing everything unfiltered, and you're like, I can't. The voices in my head, I can't.
Yeah, what if you can't turn it off? Like that's awful.
Yeah, that's. Oh man, I'm just thinking of strictly of X-Men at this point, and that's Professor X's thing.
Oh yeah.
And like Days of Future Past, where he's like, I hear all the voices unfiltered, and it's just hearing everyone's pain, and like puts a heavy burden, and it's. Oh, Days of Future Past is a good movie.
You know what I would probably like, though? It's probably not useful, but to me it would be fun, probably, if I had the ability to, like, turn into animals. Like, that'd be pretty fun.
Ooh, Animorphs.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, or the useful Wonder Twin out of the Wonder Twins, because I think the other one could only turn into, like, water. But
I believe so. Water are like inanimate objects, right?
Yeah, no. I would much rather be a Beast Boy and or Wonder Twin or something like that. That could be fun. I like animals, and that also gives you like a versatile range of abilities because you just have whatever the animal has. If I want to be an excellent ballroom dancer, for example, I'll just transform into a giraffe.
Yes! Excellent! I love it.
You know, that'd be great. Or if, even if I wanted to be, well, granted, I'd need someone who would like take care of me. But if I wanted to be lazy for a day, I'd just turn into a cat, and then I'd basically do like Killua and Marcus and just like chill with you guys on your bed all day.
Just sleep for like 24/7.
Yep.
Or you could be a sloth. You just kind of like. Just really veg. Or a panda, you could just veg and eat bamboo.
Ooh, you know what else? Again, this is throwing a bit of logic out the window, but how I would actually use my powers for good is I would transform into, probably in the most cases, cats or dogs, and I would be a therapy animal for like kids with trauma or something. There you go.
Oh, that's wholesome. Obviously, for super speed, you can do a lot of things. It also depends on how jacked you are or how fit. But generally speaking, you'd be like, okay, if there's a disturbance or there's something like in my immediate vicinity, then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna try to help the best I can.
Yeah.
Or even lower scale, I'd be like, yo, someone needs some groceries done or like a quick errand. But it'd be like, yo, you want to see me do that? You want to see me do it again? I did it all within like a second. I got your groceries. What's up?
You would do that. That's very kind of you. I also feel like you would use your speed to be, kind of again, going back to that Quicksilver scene, but I feel like you would be a preventative hero where you would see things that are oncoming that are going to be dangerous or inconvenient to someone, and you would do your best like right before to set everything so that doesn't happen.
Are you saying like I'm able to like have foresight essentially where I'm able to predict things?
I think you would to a degree, or it could even just be something really simple, like you see that someone is, I don't know, playing Mario Kart, for example. We're all at your guys' apartment playing Mario Kart, and it's getting crazy aggressive, and Cassie and Dom's new Eurocamp mugs are on the table. Somebody kicks the table. The mugs are about to break, but you are able to stop time, and you see that happen. Yeah, essentially. And then you save them and you put them aside.
Everything goes in slow-mo, and then I'm just like, yoink.
Yep.
And no one notices. No one notices.
Yep.
It's all flash.
Yep. That's true. That also fits you very well. The thing is no one would notice, and then you'd be super humble. You'd be a very humble hero as you are a person.
Yeah.
So that very much fits your nature. I see it.
Yeah, thank you. I also see you being very nice and being an animal and just chilling all the time.
I love animals.
And you would just essentially help people while just being like, hey, I like to hang out and be like, man, if I'm being an animal and making people feel good, I'm also feeling good because I get attention and everyone's just hanging out and having a good time. It's all good.
Yep. Oh man, I'd also like to just become an animal so I could like try and live out my favorite anime scenarios. Like, let me transform into a duck and try to do ballet dancing. That would be great.
Oh, so graceful.
And then let me be a cat, but then I'll have somebody like spray paint a yellow crescent onto my forehead, and then I'll just like run around saying, "The Negaverse is coming! Sailor Moon, let's go!" It'd be great. It'd be great. I get to live out some of my own fantasies.
So when you be the giraffe, are you going to try and find another giraffe to ballroom dance with?
I have to, yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yep, that's what we have to set up. That is the best one. Is I can be a giraffe so I can live my my ballroom dancing dreams. Oh, and then I'm going to be a penguin, and I'm going to find 2 other penguins, and we're going to buy a hat, and then we're going to find some very sad orphan children. Like, the list just goes on and on. On and on.
I need to rewatch Penguin Drum again, honestly.
Me too. I want to.
So long. It's been so long since I watched it.
And now you still haven't seen Yurikuma, but you have seen Utena, so it'll be an interesting...
I have seen Yurikuma.
So now that would be interesting because you have the perspective of all of Ikuhara's other works to think of Penguin Drum of. In terms of like balance and the way the storytelling goes, I do think Penguin Drum is probably his most like cohesively narratively strong piece, because I think that it has like the great symbolism and stuff that is contained in all of his works, but it's a good length of episodes. Like the motifs aren't confusing and you're left with a strong and clear message. But maybe that's me. I know some people who say they're confused by Penguin Drum, but yeah, I don't know.
It's dense. It's a lot to take in, but I mean, that's what the internet is for, if you think about it. I feel as though, like, Utena, Black Rose Saga, or Arc aside, I mean, I found that the show was a little easy to follow. But yeah.
That's true.
It all comes together in the end for all of them. You're like, oh, it all makes sense and it all loops. Like, it's a perfect circle. I love it.
I need somebody to make just this huge theory about how all of Ikuhara's worlds are like interspersed and connected, like between Utena, Penguin Drum, and Yurikuma. That would be quite interesting. And with how intensely like people who enjoy Ikuhara's work get as far as like theories and essays and stuff like that, I am sure someone out there could do it.
I mean, listen, I'm sure that there probably is. We just don't know about it because I can't remember when it was, but at some point, some theory was floating around that, like, it was around the time Frozen where they were saying, yo, Frozen is in the same world as Tangled because you can see them, but also Little Mermaid is there because that's the boat in Little Mermaid. But also, let's not forget the Pixar verse where you can see all the references to all the other Pixar movies. And eventually, there's this weird, crazy theory that, like, the old witch in Brave was, like, Boo from Monsters Inc.
What?
Who just essentially, it's weird.
Those are different, like, that's like modern times and, like, actually, I don't know when Brave takes place, whatever, but I'm pretty sure they're not, like, right aligned with each other. That's insane.
It's weird conspiracy theories, man.
That's
weird
so
conspiracy theories.
Nice. Let's see. I guess we've gone a little bit off topic from superpowers, but I did want to mention this when I was thinking about it. So I was a huge fan of the original Powerpuff Girls TV series. Yeah, loved it. And one of my favorite episodes was one where the girls were staying inside, and then they had this conversation about their favorite superheroes, like, in media. And if I remember correctly, Blossom really liked kind of a Captain America, like, Marvel-style hero that was just very justice and strong and things going forward. And then Blossom, I think, liked kind of a Batman or Raven kind of like dark hero sort of thing. And then Bubbles is out here liking this fucking magical girl manga character. Like, if you look at the panels, it was absolutely a manga. And she's just like, they turn into super cute Bunny-chan or whatever. And then they're like, what's wrong with you? And they're all trying to talk about, like, which of their heroes is cooler. And I'm just like, that speaks very true to what people find superpowers to be cool and what they should do. It's a very diverse, like, range of opinions. But yeah.
Just look at all the movies out there. I mean, I recently just beat Spider-Man, and everyone, like, y'all realize that there's superheroes and everyone loves superheroes, and the Marvel movies now have 20 movies under their belt.
Whew, and going.
Oh, yeah. And Captain Marvel is going to be their 21st, and Avengers 4 will be their 22nd movie. So there's a lot of cool superpowers out there, a lot of cool ideologies and how people can use these superpowers for good and or evil. Obviously, like, goes without saying, we probably would not use our powers for evil.
Yeah, I mean, not on purpose. Maybe, like, that sort of accidental evil thing where it's like, oh no, I didn't realize how this was actually bad. But yeah, not for malicious intent.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I'm like, What else is there regarding superpowers? Oh, shout outs to Get for when I was talking to him about this topic. I was like, I don't know what I would choose. And he said, I'd want happiness to be my superpower. I just want to be able to be happy. And I was like, ooh, that hurts, but it's very true. Very poignant. Very poignant.
But what if you're so happy to a point you can never, like, in a dire situation or a sad situation, you just sit there and you're just like, I'm so happy.
Maybe you become the Joker. Maybe that's like how the spectrum works.
Cammy, I think your boyfriend is going to be the Joker.
Oh, man. Well, we'll see about that. I don't know if he can do as good of an impression as my brother. My brother, after The Dark Knight came out, like, he used to I'd be hanging out in the kitchen watching TV, and he'd grab, like, a kitchen knife and just come over and be like, you want to know how I got these scars? And he did the, like, thing where he, like, licks his lips in between words. It was so accurate. I was like, ugh, getting shivers thinking about it right now.
Oh, that's great. God, I love Heath Ledger impressions. All right, speaking of good things, we're going to talk about a show today that I passed in the fall 2017 anime season. Yeah, it came out in the fall. Holy mother of God. Our backlog.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I actually couldn't remember when it came out. We're catching up. It's good. We're catching up.
Yeah, it's true. Let me double check here real quick. Yeah, Blood Blockade Battlefront Beyond, October 7th, 2017 to December 23rd, 2017. Okay. Blood Blockade Battlefront and Beyond, otherwise known as Kekkai Sensen Beyond, often abbreviated in the ending, which I honestly found this pretty cute, as B3 and B, Blood Blockade Battlefront and B and Beyond. It's pretty cool. The studio is obviously Bones, you know them. They make sexy things. I'm trying to hear not to pinpoint the obvious juggernauts as like My Hero Academia or FMA Brohid. Today I'll bring to your attention a show called Space Dandy. And the show that actually recently just dropped on Netflix that I did an impression for in the spring 2018, Dragon Pilot, Hisone and Masotan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that just dropped just yesterday. I recommend going to give that a shot. I watched the first episode and the dub is actually pretty good. Ooh. Okay. The synopsis goes as such. 3 years ago, a gateway between Earth and the Beyond opened in New York City, trapping extra-dimensional creatures and humans alike in an impenetrable bubble. After the city's restoration, monsters, magic, and madness are common findings in the area now known as Hell Salem's Lot. Leonardo Watch, a young photographer who unwillingly obtained the, quote, all-seeing eyes of the gods, in exchange for his sister's eyesight, came to this paranormal city to find answers to the mysterious power that he possesses. He later finds his life drastically changed when he joins Libra, a secret organization of people with supernatural abilities dedicated to maintaining the order in the everyday chaos of Hell Salem's Lot. However, it is only in the beginning of Leonardo's unexpected journey ahead. Regardless of the constant threat of otherworldly enemies, he is determined to uncover secrets of his power and find a way to restore his sister's eyesight. Blood Blockade and Beyond follows Leonardo as he sets off on even more crazy adventures with his comrades, fighting to ensure peace and order. Should be noted that this is a season 2, y'all, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cammy.
Oh, yes.
Let's get this out of the way. You were the sole person remaining that actually said, I want to do this. You binged all season 1, and you got on my level to watch season 2.
Heck yeah.
What did you think of this crazy-ass New York City that became Hell Salem's Lot.
Oh my goodness. So I've actually had this show on my periphery for quite a while, mostly due to the stylized like character designs that I would see.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked interesting. It looked really unique, like something that wasn't coming out otherwise. So I was always kind of like, yeah, I should watch it, but like there was never really any push for me to watch it. So I was very excited when you passed it for us, and then I was like, oh heck yeah, I'm gonna hop on that bandwagon. I'm gonna watch it because this is my opportunity. Yay. So I was very happy about that. And I'm actually trying to remember, did you mention season 1 on, I'm guessing it would have been like our New Year's episode, like our first New Year's episode? You, me, Cassie, and John all brought up like 4 or 5 anime from 2016 that we thought was like really notable, and I can't remember if you brought up the original Kekkai Sensen.
I brought up Blood Blockade and Beyond in our end of show 2017. I think I highlighted mostly the fact that the music was a huge standout, and the opening and ending were boppers. You know, they're bangers. Like, you can't skip. I guess that's kind of like going ahead here, but like, production-wise, you can't skip the opening and ending because they're so good.
Yes. No, production is going to be a huge conversation because, yes, there are a lot of feelings and things to say and shower with praise in the production department. Oh my God. So in regards to checking out the first season, and what I think still does define this show, even in season 2, for me, this show is absolutely, without a doubt, style over substance. Completely. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. To me, it's just the way that the show approaches itself. It's that there is very much, basically, they're pushing so hard to have the show look cool, to have it feel cool, to have it sound cool. Guess what? It is. All of those things. It's so freaking cool. Like, the atmosphere of the show.
You like those attacks,
oh my
man?
God. Oh, okay, actually, I have issues with those attacks that I vented to get about, and I will explain to you. But, like, yes, this show really prioritizes style. And it's really cool to see a show do it to the dedicated degree that this show does. But for me, there's the story does not make any sense. I have a really hard time following it. I'm not the only person I know that said this. Like, I was watching it, and Get was talking to some of our friends, and he was like, man, this show's got such great music. And his friend was like, yeah, too bad I couldn't tell what was going on like 80% of the time. And I even found an analysis video by Digibro, which I'll post in the description, where he talked about how the show does so much to be so stylized, but almost to a degree that it makes things even more confusing. He mentioned like a montage of scenes in episode 2 that are shot from like a webcam somewhere where Zap is chasing down Leo, and it's you're kind of like, wait, who's in the webcam? Like, why are we getting it this way? Or there's like a random fisheye lens, or like they go from this one shot to another thing that's highly stylized, but I'm like, I can't tell what's going on. Like these style things are coming out here without like a purpose other than to be stylish. And basically, a lot of what I wanted to love in this story, which was basically in the narrative, in the characters, was lost on me because it was just so erratic and like not sensical, and like I just was I had a loss to it, and it was such a bummer because of the style. I want to love the whole package, but it just was so confusing to me, and like not even to the degree of like a turn your brain off. Like, it was just kind of disorienting sometimes, or like,
this is all season 1, right? So, like, do you feel as though this would have been better if they gave the show more room to breathe? Like, more episodes to kind of explain the world, like, the factions and all that sort of stuff?
To a degree, it would have... I do think it probably would have been nicer if it was one 24-episode series instead of 2 12-episode seasons. I do agree with that, especially because Season 2, which... honestly, time to really get into season 2 of spoilers, is just that, or not spoilers, sorry, season 2 story, is that season 2 takes the route of really going to be more of an episodic slice of life show. They kind of dedicate an episode to each character in Libra, which was really good. Like, that was something
I loved it.
I wish I had in season 1 so that I cared about Libra as a whole in midst of this huge plot that was going on. And so it was it was a good thing, but it was almost like too little too late. If that had been interspersed between everything that was happening in season 1 when I'm first being introduced to the story, that would have been pretty effective.
Do you want to know some behind the scenes things dealing with season 1?
Yes.
All right. So, fun fact about this show, I guess this is kind of production, kind of not, but I want to actually just let you and the listeners at home know about this for season 1. This was actually based on the manga, the same mangaka that did Trigun. If you see the cat in the show, that's the exact same cat.
Oh, no way! That's cool.
Yeah, Yasuhiro Naito. The manga ran from 2009 to 2015 with 12 volumes. The thing that makes Blood Blockade Battlefront Season 1 so kind of like really interesting and kind of like really all in your face about what it is, because the director, let's see here, the director of Season 1 was Rei Matsumoto. They directed various episodes of Precure, such as Slash Star, Fresh, Precure, yes, Precure 5, yes, Precure 5 Go Go, and the Heartcatch movie, along with Kiyosa Giga, the head writer of that show. This is their only work where they did Kazunao Furuya. The thing that makes this unique is all the chapters in the manga are kind of like season 2 from what I've understood. And the director and the head writer of season 1 cherry-picked all the Leo-focused chapters and tried to make them in a through line, an arc.
Yeah.
However, fun fact about this, I don't know if you knew this, but a good majority of Blood Blockade Battlefront Season 1, filler.
Oh.
The villain in Season 1 is filler.
Yeah, isn't the whole thing with Black and White anime original?
Yep.
Which is so funny because, like, they were kind of, for me, like, one of the stronger parts of the show. They weren't presented well, don't get me wrong, but I was interested in them and their plotline. So it's so bizarre to me. I actually missed them in season 2 a little bit. And because for whatever reason, Black was my favorite character, not necessarily things that impacted Black and affected Black as a character, but I liked sweet little klutzy Black a lot. he was cute. But yeah, I did actually hear that they were anime original and probably, from what you're telling me, an effort to make some sort of big through line with choosing all of the Leo chapters in season 1.
Exactly. And I feel as though, and Cass has actually said this about the show as well, episode 1, it throws you right in. And you as a viewer along with Leo are just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. There's aliens, there's magic, there's a guy on a moped that's literally using blood as weapons, and like there are explosions happening. What the fuck is going on? And that's a turnoff to some people, and I can totally see that. But like, to shift gears to season 2, if you are able to get past season 1 and kind of embrace the fucking ridiculous ass nature of it, like if you are able to like get behind Leo and his pet monkey Sonic Speed or Sonic and Klaus as a God, Klaus is so cool. And if you're like, man, they're cool, and Zap's there, and Zap's angry, and he's just a dick, but also he kind of gives a shit. So you're like, if you get past that, we get to season 2. Is there much of a story for season 2? That's a good question, Cammy.
That is a good question. So what was I even saying about, like, to go back to how this season does it's episodic and it gives you glimpses to the members of Libra. I appreciated that. While the show still has kind of erratic pacing and unclear storytelling, I think it is a little better in midst of something that's episodic, because you're just like, well, it's episodic, like, we're here for fun and, like, to get a glimpse into these characters. Actually, no, before I get to that, here's my thing. The last 2 episodes tied to tie in some big plot. And they were so bad. Those 2 episodes, I'm sorry, on all fronts, even production, were so bad. Like,
yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh my god, yeah, no. I knew that you would also have that agreement. I was like, yeah, it's very clear here. Even everything that they tried to bring up was just scrapped at the end. They were like, yeah, all right, let's get back to what we're doing. I think, though, my favorite episodes of this season were Chain's focused episode. And,
yes, same!
Oh, it was so good. And KK's episode. I actually really liked KK's episode.
Oh, KK, the sniper and the mom.
Yep.
God,
her episode, particularly, too, for me, felt the most, like, cohesive. It was just well written. The story had a through line with, like, a solid ending note. And, like, it wasn't, to me, it was the one where I was the most, like, I get this.
Invested.
I see what I'm invested. I see what you're doing. I get it. Nice, like, good delivery, good payoff, which was really cool because I don't know, KK was just there and I was like, yeah, she's cool, but they did a really good job with that episode.
Yeah, they fleshed her out considering all she did was just, oh, I'm the team sniper. I'm just going to sit here and be like, okay, I got my mark. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
And then in that episode, she's like, I'm at a parent-teacher conference and I'm watching my kids in school while also trying to maintain my job from a remote location from the bathroom. This is really weird, but okay, she's trying to juggle two lives, essentially.
It even just had great dramatic commentary without needing some big old story, you know? Because, I mean, there's the fact of the way that the families and kids are being affected living in Hell Salem's Lot. Like, I'm not going to spoil what the episode is about, but there's that kind of complexity at the end where it shows, like, the dual families, like, and how they're both looking out for their children. And there's just kind of a darkness and an imbalance that's there due to the way that Hell Salem's Lot operates. And that's really cool. Yeah. Like, it's dramatic without having to force a lot of stuff down your throat. So good on them for that. I really love that episode. And Chain's, because she's cute.
My favorite episodes... obviously, again, being Chain's episode, because Chain as a character, well, we'll kind of, I'll say my favorite episodes, and then I guess we can kind of, like, divulge into our character discussion here. My favorite episodes, and I just rewatched them all, I definitely like KK's episode. I like Gilbert's episode.
Oh, Gilbert's episode.
God, he's got such a cool car, man. Steven's episode. Episode 3, but on the whole, as you said, there are some weak episodes here. There's the last 2 episodes that tries to, again, this is kind of like a Princess Principal sort of style where they're like, true. You want a series of introductions to the characters and the cast and kind of like slowly world build a little bit. You get introduced to this, oh, we should try and introduce, like, a plot with the sister character. The whole, like, what the fuck happened to Leo's eyes in the first place, sister. And it kind of really doesn't go anywhere. There's also a 2-episode arc dedicated to a random person that Leo befriends.
That was weak, too. Like, yeah, I kind of liked the end of it. There was, like, a cute end shot where the character's looking up at Leo and then he's like, the most important things I need to see are right here, and I was like, oh, that's cute because friendship, but like, yeah, other than cheesy. That, it was weird. Hey, I like cheesy sometimes. It's not as it's not as bad as, like, the cheesiness of, for me, season 1 with the Burger Kid. I'm like, why are we doing this?
He came back in season 2.
He did.
He came back.
His cameo was cute. I appreciated it. But yeah, I would agree with you. I forgot those little 2-off episodes were just kind of weird.
Yeah, and then when you think about it, you just have the episodic nature and the kind of glimpse into what Libra is as, like, hey, remember season 1 focused all on Leo and Klaus. And now it's just like, hey, and a little bit of Zap. And now it's more like, hey, you want to see more of Zap? You want to see who the fuck Chain is? Who the fuck Steven is? Who the fuck Zed? Zed has a good episode.
Zed's episode was so good. He's such a cute fish boy. I love him.
Yeah. He actually is like, oh, I don't think the people at the bureau actually like me. Shit. And then he nearly dies.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then at the end when they're all, like, laughing at him when he's trying to look cool because of, like, his technique, and they're just like, you look really ridiculous. Like, aw.
Yep.
Yeah. Zed Super Precious. That was another really good episode. I liked it.
All right, I guess we're kind of like essentially half and half on this characters. Who's your favorite character?
I feel like also this review is very erratic, but hey, it just goes by the nature of the episode. It just hops everywhere.
Yeah, kind of, right?
So there's that.
See you in another erratic episode, Darling in the Bronx.
Hey, there you go. There you go. My favorite episode, or not episodes, my favorite characters this season, it's interesting because if I was to go back to season 1, I would say my favorite characters were Leo and Black. They were probably my 2 favorite characters. I don't know why. I just like sad, confused boys. maybe that's it. And I still like Leo in season 2, but the thing is, we're just not seeing as much of him. So, and I've seen so much of him already, so like he's just kind of there. But I loved getting to know more about Chain as a character, and basically her introduction made me want to like see more of her and learn more about her. So she was probably my favorite. Also, shout outs to Zed and KK for me. But what about you?
Yeah. Well, again, I kind of say, like, I reflect your opinions a lot. My avatar, admittedly, I chose here for the pod is Leo, but like, I would say my favorite character is this time around is Steven, like just getting to know more about like what his deal is, and just like, oh man, the guy wears a suit, has a scar, it's voiced by J. Michael Tatum in the English dub. Hey, that's alright, he's already suave enough as is, and to boot, he's got ice powers. He can literally freeze people. He can freeze people with his own blood, which the concept of using your blood as a weapon, kind of like, they did then Dead Man Wonderland, but I think this show kind of makes it cooler, but that's just me.
I do like the variety of blood powers that they have, because they're all very different, and that part was cool. Even just learning that like that Zap learned his from like an entirely different outside source from everybody was also cool. And you know what I noticed? With Zap's blood powers or whatever, he doesn't have his attack names in Latin, and almost everybody else does.
I actually did not know that.
You want to know the reason I knew that? Because I hate the fact that they have to say it in Latin. Because this show is confusing enough as it is, but they're like, no, we have to be so fucking extra that our attack name can't be like Blood Skeleton Superpower. It has to be in Latin, Blood Skeleton Superpower. And I was like, God, just chill for a second, show. Jesus Christ.
Are you sure it's extra, but it's also sexy? Shabba-doo-ba-doo.
Shabba-da-da-doo. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe when Steven says it, because J. Michael Tatum could do no wrong. So maybe.
Right?
But like, it was just even more of like, we can't fucking chill and be grounded. We have to go to the nth degree of insanity. And I was just like, come on.
It. God, its style is just exploding everywhere. It's just like, it kind of, and I don't know if you ever saw the show, but it kind of gave me like bits of Kill la Kill vibes, where it's just like, you want our attacks, we're gonna scream them from the mountaintops, but also have the fucking kanji all up in your face, and then it's just gonna sub out all of our attacks while we're striking dramatic poses. I'm like, that is awesome.
Oh my god! Like, I don't like judge anybody who likes it, and like, I probably would like it if the whole show wasn't like that, but the entire thing is like that. It's just everything all at once, and I'm like, god damn it, I like yashikes and laid back things. This is like too much for me. Just chill, just dial it down, Kekkai Sensen.
Sensory overload, abort.
It's that I think it's just part of my nature is I like things that are slow burn, and I like to get attached, and this show, instead of having things grounded for me to get attached to, it's just flighty and everywhere, which to a degree is cool, but it's complex for me because I can't like enjoy it in the way that I enjoy a lot of other shows. Maybe that's just it.
Yeah.
I can see how people can love this show and really enjoy that stuff about it. So if you do, that's great. It was just very complicated for me.
I just wanted to also say a character that we didn't see much of at all. And this kind of like goes back to a little bit of the story. Well, there's one Libra member that kind of doesn't really show up, but only shows up in random spurts. It's the guy, like, what is his name?
Oh, I think I know who you mean.
Daedro, Brody, and Dog Hammer or Hummer.
It's the pretty guy inside like the giant blood guy. Yeah.
Blood monster. Yeah, and a friend of the show, Zach, basically said, "Yo, he's essentially like Libra's equivalent to the Hulk." And I'm like, I can get that.
I can
He
see
really
that.
only comes on the scene when they have a big bruiser, and that's about it.
I honestly feel like he kind of wasn't needed. Like, he didn't really need
No.
to be there.
Not really. Everyone else is extra.
That's another thing that kind of bothered me about the show, and, like, granted, some of it they delivered on. Like, when they added Zed in season 1, it was nice to get more of him here. But, like, how they kind of count, like, the doctor as Libra, and then they count, like, the dude who filled in for Gilbert, and I'm like, you guys are taking in, like, anybody off the street to, like, join Libra almost, and it's kind of, like, making the group itself a little disingenuous for me, but I don't know.
It seemed, in the character-focused episodes, like, it seemed like Libra had, like, such a far-reaching, like, organization. It's like the Men in Black was just like, oh yeah, Steven's a part of this branch, and I'm the head of this branch, and Chain's a part of this espionage branch. I'm like,
I love Chain's group, like her girls.
it's so good. They drink all the fucking time.
Oh my god, that was so cute. Like, seriously, I think that's why I started to really like Chain, because, like, she's all cool and mysterious in season 1, but then you just get to see now that she's the fucking, like, disaster that gets drunk and doesn't clean her apartment, and she's also, like, super shy sometimes. I'm like, man, that's my wife. That's, like, the kind of disaster wife that I want. I want Chain to be my wife.
Hey, she's styling too, so, I mean...
Yeah.
I can't blame you. I will also say that, again, kind of, like, disappointingly, even to a plot point, I mean, season 1 introduced a villain, like a filler villain, but, like, there is a villain organization. If you're going to the show and being like, oh, who's the big bad that they're gonna face, and by season 2 point, they're like, no, this is episodic, they're gonna fight random throwaway villains, and even the whole extra ass villain that they show in the beginning of season 1, the guy with the blonde hair.
Yeah, Fempt.
He
Fempt
doesn't
do shit.
No, he doesn't. He just says, I am the Joker-ass equivalent, and they never fight him or anything.
It was so
like,
disappointing to me. Like, in episode 1, I was like, he sounds cool. Also, fun fact, in Japanese, he's voiced by Akira Ishida, who is a very prolific voice actor, one of my favorites. And so I was like, ooh, man, Akira Ishida is being this crazy Joker guy, and let's not use him at all.
No.
At all.
I would have loved for him to be the villain in season 1, but they kind of didn't.
Yeah. Like, even his... Okay, I forget her name, but, like, the girl version of him. Are they siblings? Because they both have the weird, like, faceplate thing that they wear.
I don't know.
That's my shit! That's my shit! This show has all this shit that has no answers!
Cammy, I'm not gonna lie to you and say, like, my memory of season 1 only went to black and white, and then season 2 was all episodic, and I'm like, this is the shit I'm in for because I wanted to know more about the Libra organization. It's a shame that they actually didn't have any good villains that stuck. God damn it.
That's just my thing, is that there's just not, like, the writers don't even know what's going on half the time, and I'm just like, come on, man. But it's fine.
It makes me really curious to actually check out this manga, because I'm like, the only thing I know for a fact is it's narrated by Michaela and
really?
Leonardo. So I'm very curious to know if the manga itself is actually episodic in nature as well, to just be like, oh, we don't really need a villain. We have some chauvinistic, like, over the top, larger than life villain that screams in the background, but no one really pays him no mind. The Libra's never gonna stop him because, whatever, this villain of the week sort of stuff. And again, this ran for 10 volumes, so if it ended
finish?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
It ended in 2015.
I definitely might have to check it out, considering that the manga ended, especially for reasons that you mentioned. Like, I am interested in the world and the characters, and maybe if it's presented in a slightly more cohesive way, I might enjoy it more. So, thanks. I'm going to add that to my list.
Wait, I take that back. There's a sequel manga.
Ooh.
Blood Blockade Battlefront, back to back.
What?
Same writer and illustrator.
Hmm.
It is. Oh yeah, okay. So I think it's a monthly now. It only has 4 volumes. It's been running from since 2015.
Okay, well, if the original like ended at a 10 volumes, I could at least check out that and what it has to offer.
Yeah.
I don't
For
think
sure.
it's been published in the West yet.
I don't know offhand.
Hopefully it is, or soon, since the show had the Funimation dub. Like, it's got that endorsement, so hopefully. Really brief on characters as well that I can do while you're looking that up. We finally actually get to, like, see Michaela, and it's such a disappointment.
Not in, you mean Michaela, not in flashbacks this time around, yeah.
Yeah, and I almost kind of wish she was mute based on like everything that was set up in season 1. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a slight spoiler, but I'm not talking about context, so there we go.
I can get that. Also, yes, we have volumes 1 through 9 are available.
Oh shit, I gotta order those, man.
Volume 10 will be released actually, no, it's been released actually August 7th of 2018. So
I might buy those, or at least maybe like the first 3 to see how I feel about it, because that way I'm not spending a bunch of money. But yeah, cool things, man. Cool things.
Speaking of cool things, let's talk about the coolest part of the show.
Oh my God.
That substance, that style over the substance.
Yes.
God, is this a finely dressed piece of steak?
Oh my God. It's beautiful. It's fun. It's zany. It's so good. It's so amazing to look at and listen to. The soundtrack fucking uplifts this show to like god tier. I will probably say that this show rounds out into my like best anime soundtracks of all time. Like, without a doubt.
You know, you want to know something, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Production stats-wise, the music composition is by Taisei Iwasaki, who obviously did Season 1 and Season 2, and did the music composition for, and this is why I brought this show up earlier, Dragon Pilot, Hisone and Masaton.
Okay, now I really have to check that show out now.
The director of the show, Shigehito Takayanagi, the director of Dagashi Kashi, the head writer, Yasuko Kamo, also wrote Dagashi Kashi. So this is this guy and this writer really haven't done all too much, but I feel as though they actually handled this pretty well, all things considered. Again, episodic nature and whatnot. We got the chance to see people, but man, that music, that opening by Unison Square Garden, the ending by Daoko and Yasuyuki Okamura. You never skip them.
You never skip them. They're also visually stylized as well, like really cool. The whole just like really like oversaturated, like bright neon lights kind of style of the ending is so fun. It's so fun. And like I still don't like, there's so much shit going on the screen during that part that like I can't,
you just accept it.
I can't keep up with it, but it's like fun because then I would notice little things. Like there's a part where Chain like steps on Leo's like video game or something, and then there's like a part, one of my favorite parts is when all the little clone doctors are like doing the can dance. It's really cute.
Oh yeah, we mentioned her briefly, but like she's like the ghosty doctor, if I recall correctly. She's cute.
She's cute. I like her little short status. I kind of like ship her with Klaus mildly. I think they'd be cute. Yeah. Especially when she runs into him and hits his back, and then she's like, Eee! She runs away, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. But yeah, like the style is really neat. It's all very well edited. Speaking of, the animation on a whole, and for how dizzying the dynamic shots can be, this show would be fun as hell to edit with. Absolutely fun as hell to make an AMV with, because there's just so much to play with. Like, and nothing is like under animated except for maybe some shots in the last 2 episodes, but it's so good. The production's just god tier. Like, that's why I want to love the entire show, because its presentation is just incredible, and like there's so much love put into it, and it's great. It's great.
again, just the fact that their attacks are all, as you said, Latin. They say the Latin. They're like all in your face with the kanji of their attacks. When Klaus literally creates a fucking cross out of a corpse, you're just like, oh man. The opening shot is get behind me as Klaus like shields and he fucking skewers through a bunch of fucking people. The opening shot is Leo just looks behind. It's just like,
I love it when they take that, like, giant beast and he just, like, parades the cross through it, and then all these guts just, like, fly down on them, and they're all like, what the hell are we doing? It was so funny.
God. Klaus's character design, just like the burly man with that chin and those mutton chops, but he's just like, yes, I'm a distinguished gentleman while also being really intelligent, but I can fuck your shit up. I love it.
Yep. It was so good. I loved, I also liked in the opening, they do the little intro shots of the characters and they have them paired off in like very cute ways, again, with like poses and expressions that match their characters so well. Like the first shot is like Klaus like looking really badass, and then you see Leo kind of look behind his shoulder like, ah! And then they paired off Chain and Steven, which again is extra cute because of story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Zap and Zed, and they do like a dual pose, and it's like, oh, that's cute because they have the same like power set, and like, you know, just those little touches are so good, and they add to the fun of the show completely. Like even when I don't have this like deep attachment that I wish I had, those little bits are really fun, and they're nice little nods to enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the production's just fucking stellar. Like wow, it's so good.
So, Cammy, you watched all this dubbed.
I did.
Did you like this is I'm not alone for once. I'm not alone. Did you like it? Like Funimation's take on it?
Yeah, I loved the dub. So I explained to Cassie, and I guess our listeners can hear too, typically I will watch sub over dub unless I've heard like a specific recommendation. But I watched episode 1 of this in sub, and there were a couple reasons I decided to switch over to dub. The first is because, again, this show, especially in episode 1, throws you right in the middle of everything. It's really hard to keep up with everything, and it's really confusing. And when a show does that, typically on a first episode, if I'm like, for whatever reason, I'm having a hard time keeping up, I'll switch over to dub just because then, you know, I don't have to focus so much on reading and abandon like what's going on. I can just, you know, take in stuff in English, and I don't know, I think it's easier to digest. So because the show felt a little hard for me to keep up with, I was like, yeah, I'll switch over to dub. Also, because I had 24 episodes to binge, since I had to also binge season 1, I wanted to be able to watch it in a bingeable format. So dub again as well. Like I spend about an hour doing my hair every day. And while I did that every morning while getting ready for work, I knocked out like 2 episodes of the show, and it was fun. It was actually a very fun show to watch while getting ready. So yeah, dub served a very good purpose for me. And it's also a really good dub. Like I have to say, from my experience, it's great. Everyone is like well casted and fits their roles very good. And they also commit to how crazy and zany things are going, which is good.
Yeah, especially with Aaron Dismuke as Leo, you have Ian Sinclair as Zap. And...
Ian Sinclair made Zap for me. Like, I don't...
So good.
Character-wise, like, I don't enjoy Zap. He's a dick. But, like, his delivery of him was so good and made me, like, have that sense of, like, yeah, you're a total dick, but you're a lovable dick. Shout-outs to my favorite lines that Zap said is when he is talking about Leo, and he says something like, we have a staircase of pubes over here. And Leo's like, don't call me pubes. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Does this better Mr. Pubes? He's like, adding a nice like title doesn't make it any better. And he's like, okay, General Pubes. And I'm just like, he just kept going with it. And I thought it was so funny. Like, that's
so bad.
I died. It was so good. I think it went all the way up to Duke of Pubes. And it was just like, yeah, this is great. This is what makes the characters great and the banter like extra funny. So shout outs to that. I loved Ian Sinclair as Zap, and Aaron Dimske as Leo was great. I've never actually, or Dismuke?
I believe it's
Dismuke.
I don't know.
Aaron Dismuke, I have never actually heard him before until I realized that he was Al, and but I haven't heard him since he was
post
a child.
Al.
Yeah, I have not heard him post Al, and he's just a great actor. He really, like, knows how to nail in subtleties, even in a show that to me doesn't really know how to write nuanced characters. Like, he brought a really good amount of depth and made me as attached to Leo as I was. Because again, I don't think I got deeply attached, but like, I enjoyed Leo, and Leo had some really good moments, and he made him a very enjoyable main character for me. So good on that. And he could balance doing kind of the mellow Leo, like the tormented, like dramatic Leo, and the fucking I don't know what's going on here Leo. Like,
you mean 80 to 90% of the time, Leo?
Yeah, he just did it all, and it was great. So props to them, and everybody else did a good job too. I want to say Caitlin Glass's chain, but yeah, you should look that up. I want to say it was Caitlin Glass, and if not, it was another well-known dub voice actress. She did very good.
Trina
Palencia!
Nishimura.
Or wait, what?
No, Trina Nishimura.
Oh, well, dang. I thought I'd heard her before, but I guess not. Like, props to her. She did really good with Chain. I loved her voice. And I loved J. Michael Tatum as Steven. Was perfect. And I'm like, who else did I don't know. They all just suited very well, and they had a good range of voices. Who did you enjoy in the cast?
Just like, I watched the show both in dub and sub, so I just want to say it's interesting to hear like the differences. Kazuya Nakai is Zap. Rikia Koyama, who you would know as Kiritsugu from Fate Zero, is Klaus.
Oh my god.
And Leo is Shinpachi from Gintama, the guy with the glasses, the nerdy sounding guy in Gintama. But yeah, on the whole, like, the cast in the dub is also really well done. I really liked Ian Sinclair as Zap and J. Michael Tatum as Steven. Really good. Really, really good. So, hey, both audios are good, but as you said, I can understand why you'd want to kind of switch to something a little bit more mainstream, so you're not like looking at subs while looking at the visuals going back and forth, and you're just like, while the dialogue doesn't fucking whiz at a mile per minute, but the action on screen whizzes at a mile per minute, and you're like, what the fuck? I can't. Season 2, I feel as though, is a little bit more subdued, where you can kind of watch it sub, but Season 1 kind of really throws you into the, like, really in, and you're like, again, to make the comparison, saying, you along with Leo are in Hell Salem's Lot. I keep wanting to say Hail, and Hell Salem's Lot, and you're just along with him, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm at this diner and I just want to eat a hamburger. God.
Oh, also mild shout out as well. I know we're doing season 2 and not season 1, but also Micah Solasad as Black did a really good job. So.
Oh yes, I do recall that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, I just, they're both good. They're both very strong. Just like the production on a whole is so good. The ending and opening are really, really good, and the insert songs were also really cool. I also discovered that a lot of the soundtrack, particularly more than the openings, but some of the openings and endings are all on Spotify. So you should enjoy that. I took advantage of that one day, and I was like listening to the soundtrack, and it was really, really nice. So that's a treat.
Awesome. Well, all right. We covered the episodic nature of the story. We've covered the cast of Libra and the so-so villains. We've covered that sexy-ass production. Do we have anything more to say about the show before we roll into ratings?
We roll on into ratings. So I'm really glad that I was able to check out Blood Blockade Battlefront and Beyond, both of them, because I definitely it was something that I wanted to take a chance to do regardless at some point. And the show gave me a very unique viewing experience. I haven't really seen another show quite like this, for the good and bad things that I felt about it. It is a highly stylized, like, crazy fun romp, and if you are in the mood for that, I definitely think you should check it out. If you're interested in checking out something that covers a different setting than we see in most anime, something that's not only more Western influenced, but also has supernatural elements, check it out. Really, really freaking cool. My whole thing is that I'm still left that I really wanted to love this show and I couldn't, for reasons that it's just erratic pacing and storytelling, and even the things that I enjoyed, I was just bummed that they were slightly watered down by the hangups that I had. And I also know that I'm not the only person who has these hangups. While not everybody feels them, I've heard enough feedback from people that's very similar to mine. So the show is not necessarily for everybody, or your enjoyment might be just balanced a different way, because everybody enjoys shows differently. I do think, though, that even if you're just going in here to look at beautiful production, like, please check it out. I give it a check it because I definitely think that it has really fun and unique things to offer to the table. I just don't think I don't think it's for everybody. And I think that even if you do end up watching it, it's not even a black and white situation, because, like, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but it was very solid, and I do think that people should watch it. So I give it a check it. And that goes for season 1 and season 2.
Right on. All right, y'all. This show was fun. First and foremost. Funny enough, I tried watching season 1 while it was airing, but then just kind of fell off because I got easily distracted. And after hearing, oh, it's really, really good from Zach from Save Our Progress, it's just like, oh, yo, it's really fucking good. You should get in. You should give it a shot, because it's really out there and bizarre and unique and crazy ass power sets. And I'm like, all right, cool. Found it on Funimation. Watched all of it on Funimation. And season 1 is really like a mile a minute. You take an inch, you go a mile sort of thing. And I am probably odd in the fact that I'm like, I thought that it was fine. Like, I thought that the story was fine. I was able to follow it well enough, but I didn't really. I guess, like, I wanted more from season 1. Like, the filler ending was like, it wrapped itself up. Okay, fine. Season 2, different pace entirely. It shifted gears, different director, different. And again, maybe the directing style and the fact that their head writer went and cherry-picked chapters focused on Leo, and the director is known for Giga, which I believe is also really fucking out there, bizarre, zany, like, mile-a-minute sort of show as well. They're like, yeah, this is what the show is. This is going to be the pace of it. Season 2, a little bit more subdued. We're going to, like, character focus this a little bit here. But if you don't get through season 1, then you probably won't get to season 2. I like this show for what it did, and I thought that it was fun just to get to see the other characters. And admittedly, the times that they tried to actually introduce a serious story, I felt as though it was weak. The two-part episode, so literally one fourth of this entire show is, or rather, one third of the show is kind of like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you take what you can get. Cammy, what do you recommend?
I definitely recommend Samurai Champloo for an alternate anime recommendation, which also kind of just has a zany group of characters that come together for no specific reason, very similarly as to how Leo joins Libra in this show, where Blood Blockade has a style that is akin to, like New York and, like, very, like, modern Western influences. Let me mention, by the way, I paused the screen at one point and saw a Whole Foods, like, in the show, and I was like, what the fuck? It's Whole Foods! Like, it's a big fancy grocery store over here. Like, I don't know. They just...
Is that an East Coast thing? Because I don't know if there's Whole Foods.
They do have a Whole Foods in Portland. It's a, it's kind of a more expensive, like, organic foods thing. Think Trader Joe's. It's very much like Trader Joe's.
Oh, okay.
But it is a bit more of a spread out chain than Trader Joe's is. Anyway, so Blood Blockade has a lot of, like, Western influences, and even the music is, like, styled more Western. There's a lot of, like, jazz and some hip hop stuff. Samurai Champloo is, like, rap and hip hop mixed with like, older samurai Japan. It's a really cool, like, zany mashup, and it also has a lot of slapstick action and, like, really good comedy, and it doesn't necessarily have a through line of where it's going. It's just kind of a journey, like a episodic slice of life with characters, and it's really fun. So I definitely think if those elements in Blood Blockade are something that you enjoyed, you should definitely try Samurai Champloo. It's also directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, so there you go. But what about you, Craig?
I recommend the show Durarara. Durarara. In the sense that, like, it's Ikebukuro, Japan. You have, like, this kid that's kind of like the straight man that's, like, being a newcomer, new to town. It's just like, hey, I want to see what the hip happening things are. And then he realizes, hey, there's a chick on a motorcycle. That's a Dullahan. And then there's, like, a guy that's a criminal mastermind, and there's a floating head, and then there's a professor that's crazy, and then there's a Russian who hands out sushi plates, or sushi flyers rather, and there's a gang war, and things just escalate, and then there's social media, and things just get really weird, and he's like, Ikebukuro's got way more going on. Same much with this show, Hell Salem's Lot. I keep wanting to say Hail. Hell Salem's Lot is just really the stewing pot, this culmination of mystical, magical, bizarre, extraterrestrial, all just culminated in New York City. How does it all manage? And man, it's just interesting because they don't expand the world past the city itself, but you gotta wonder, what does the rest of the world think of New York City, and like how are they gonna handle it? How's the mayor of New York City? Oh wait, the mayor of New York City was in episode 1 of Blood Blockade. I do recall that.
Yep. Oh man, this show is just a thing. It's just a thing.
It's really bizarre, man. So yeah, if you like Blood Blockade and you want something a little bit akin to that crazy style, not nearly as upfront and fucking in your face, and Durarara is a little bit longer, admittedly, check Durarara out. So, I check it and I like it for this show. What I anticipated for this show, admittedly. So.
Oh, well, yeah, you called it. Good going.
All good things.
Yeah, definitely. I am glad I watched it. I know I rage, but that's only because I feel like this show has a lot that I wanted out of it. So,
do you feel as though if they ever did a season 3 and there was more episodic natures of Libra, would you like that?
I mean, I feel like I'd check it out. I think that just here's a way that I would describe the style of the show. Get was like on, I think he was playing League or something while I was watching some of the later episodes. And occasionally he would make a comment, or he'd like look at the screen and then make a comment and then go back to what he's doing. And then eventually he was like, every single time I look up at the screen of Blood Blockade Battlefront, it looks like another anime, like an entirely other anime. Because, like, it's just that insane. Like, things change at the drop of a hat, and it's fucking confusing. And so, like, it's just something that I think no matter what, like, the delivery of it is just something that's a little bit of a turnoff for me. But I would I'd watch more of it. Like, I enjoy the characters. That's kind of why I want to read the manga, to see if I can get more of them. And it's not something that, like, I regret my time with. It's just, it's hard to explain unless you watch it, and, like, you'll have a different reaction to it.
It's a complicated relationship. You and Blood Blockade have a complicated history. And you don't go to, if you go to New York, then you'll be like, whoa.
Yo, I want to go back to New York now and like see all of the references.
I've never been. I've always been curious.
If you ever come to visit me, I'll take you there. It's like a 4-hour bus ride.
Oh, dang, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
All the things considered. Hey. All right then. Hey y'all, this has been episode 81 of Any Chat Boxes. Thanks for listening. I've been your host, Gregory. I'm Maximus III Esquire. That over there on the East Coast is the precious cinnamon roll of the podcast, Cammy. If you want to hit us up in long form or short form, feel free. Twitter.com/anychatbox. Email is anychatmail@gmail.com. Feel free to peruse our Patreon if you so desire. Patreon.com/anychatbox. Again, we're on multiple podcast services around the globe. We can also be found on YouTube. Just type AnyChatbox if you want to see a nice video version of this with a nice JPEG attached. Video games. I'm on a video game podcast. It's called Save Progress. Hey, y'all. Last episode, we talked about Spider-Man PS4. Pete has been obsessively playing the new Destiny expansion, and Paul played the Ninja Gaiden inspired game, The Messenger. So if you want to hear me talk about Spider-Man along with Zach for 45 straight minutes, rambling about how good of a game it is and how I spent 2 weeks of my life nonstop playing this game and got a platinum trophy on this game, give it a listen. SoundCloud.com/SaveOurProgress, Twitter.com/SaveOurProgress for all of the episode details. And with that, have a good night, everyone. Shabba-doo-ba-doo.
Shabba-da-da-doo. Good night, everybody!
Boy!